Hey everyone, Bill Huizenga here in the office in Washington D.C. After I'm going to turn a little light on here. So, just did a series of media interviews around, and wanted to give you an update directly as well. As you may tell by the title that I have, which was my take on the president's campaign speech, State of the Union speech. I thought, quite honestly, it came across as pretty defensive, angry, tailored to a very narrow audience, and it certainly felt far more like a campaign speech. I mean, he was challenging, he was combative with the Republicans. I mean, the only two times there was any kind of joint standing ovation was when he mentioned John Lewis, the great John Lewis, civil rights icon, and the Israeli hostages, excuse me, and the Israeli hostages and his commitment to get them home. That was really the most unifying aspects of this. The rest of it, I think he is detached from the reality of what's really happening in the economy, frankly. When he said, the U.S. economy's never been stronger. There's spots that are doing really, really well, and there are a whole lot of areas that are not. And when you look at 17% overall inflation, 20% in food alone, the constituents that I talk to just feel like there's another shoe ready to fall. And they're not feeling this optimism in their gut, and certainly not feeling it in their checkbook. I thought another area where he was a bit off the mark, shall we say, was when he said America is safer today than it was when he came into office. I don't think anybody's believing that. I don't think anybody is buying that. That certainly is not the experience most Americans are having. And I'm looking out my window here in Washington D.C. and off in the distance I can see National Stadium. I can't tell you how many shootings and carjackings, including of a member of Congress from Texas, a Democrat from Texas. One of my other Democrat female colleagues was assaulted in her apartment building in the elevator. This is all within sight of the Capitol. And so if you're not safe in the Capitol, how in the world do you think you're safe in a big city like New York or Chicago or somewhere else? And guess what? It's happening around the country. And so when he's out there trying to tout this, I just don't think people are buying that at all. Clearly, I think the president was trying to pick a fight with the former president. That was laid out in an article here a couple of days ago, where they think that is a strategy. Be combative, goad Donald Trump into saying or doing something, and that's why he just was going after him. It was something like 13, 14 times that he mentioned his predecessor or the previous administration. Usually with these State of the Union speeches, you're talking about what you have done, what you are going to do. This was not a shining city on a hill kind of speech, I can tell you that. It's just interesting. And even I take pretty copious notes actually of what's going on. And I wrote this one down because he said the future we can build together. That was one of his sort of headers. And under that, he just launched into the prescriptions, prescription costs, and then he talked about just going right into that and how Trump and the Republicans want to repeal Obamacare and want healthcare to be more expensive. It's like, it's just ridiculous. So, that was his unifying part of his speech. So I think it was by far the least bipartisan State of the Union speech that I've been a part of in any time that I've been in Congress. I was checking in with some of my colleagues around me and frankly, they were feeling the exact same way. There's usually a section where, we can kind of go, okay, we're going to disagree on certain things. We know that going into it, but I think he had no effort in trying to bridge any of those gaps. He might have, his lips might have moved and said it. I don't think he meant it, because his actions and the surrounding element just said something completely different, which is campaign time. I think that's how it came across. So that's the real deal take on what was going on tonight. We got some questions down here. So somebody's just saying not safe any place. I'm not going to comment as to whether he had a nap or not. Quite honestly, in all seriousness, it doesn't do our country any good to see him stumble or not look like he can manage the job. Many of us have doubts of his capabilities, and he was trying to make fun of that with his age and talking about that at the very end. But it's a serious matter, frankly, and the simple fact is I don't believe that he's physically fit and able to perform this job for another 4 years. And here's the question we all have to ask ourselves. I think this is going to be one of the bottom line questions that all voters are going to ask themselves. We've seen 4 years of the presidency under Donald Trump and what happened with the economy, what happened on the world stage. We've seen 4 years of what has happened under the Biden administration's leadership and Joe Biden's leadership, direct leadership, rather than just when he was vice president. And you have to ask yourself the same question. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Do you think the country's better off? Are we safer? Are we more prosperous? Is the world a safer place? And I think that Joe Biden's really in trouble when he's trying to say, yes, it is. I think my colleagues in Michigan, Democrat colleagues, are feeling that. And certainly the polling would reflect that as well. Michiganders don't believe it. I think many people in the country don't believe that is the case. So we'll be seeing what's going to be happening, but we'll stay in touch, and we'll talk to you again soon. Have a good night.